Hey.
What is going on, everybody? How are you doing? Hopefully you're having a great week, right? It's another episode. We're here, episode 19, right? I was just joking with Mel. We're at episode 19. Our podcast is almost old enough to drink, guys.
That's great.
Today, what we're going to be talking about is something that's really important, especially the week that we just went through with everything that's going on in this country. Giving and gratitude, right? Two big things that we should really, really focus in on, especially, we'll get into it here in a second, but really two things that we really should be focusing in on. And guys, if you're jumping on the live, which I see a lot of us are actually doing that, please make sure you comment who you are, where you're from. We'd love to give you a shout out. And if you're jumping on the replay, or catching us on one of our many other avenues, right? Make sure you share that, you like that, you comment on that as well. We'd love to come back on there and give you a shout out. But like I said, episode 19, giving gratitude. We're going to get into that here in a second. But Mel, what is going on? How is
you forgot my name here.
I forgot. Another episode of Billy Mel. Bam, right there.
Billy and Mel.
But I'm not stealing your thunder this time. I didn't give it away.
Right. No guest. Phil did a great job last week. Yeah,
he did an amazing job. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, our last episode, our first guest, so make sure you go check that out. But Mel, what is going on? How have you been? This week has been nuts. So
It's been nuts. The weather's been nuts, even though I appreciate it so much. I'm grateful for today's weather and the weekend. We're going to have a really nice weather this weekend. But yeah, I've been busy. I've had some great meetings, and I just thought that with November being National Gratitude Month and some of the things that I've been experiencing, obviously we want to try to share our stories and things that we're going through. A lot of other people are, and I just think it would be a great time to be grateful for everything that we are going through. And I had my Leadership Harrisburg retreat every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, and we talked about some great things there that I love to bring back for my personal and professional life and the podcast. So I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Good.
What about you? You looked a little different right before we started the podcast. So tell us a little about your new look.
Well, they're not,
for those who can't see us.
They're not terribly new. I've had them for a little bit, but this is the first time I told Mel about me actually wearing glasses. It's like, it's just the sign of getting older, right? Glasses, right? I don't need them all the time. And I know a lot of glasses people will be like, oh, that's just the beginning, right? You're going to wear them, start wearing them from now on. But no, times are changing, right? That's a great kind of segue to what this week has kind of been. Times are changing. And this is what I love about gratitude and giving, is that you do get, that person gets, whoever you're giving to does get a lot out of it, right? But you're also getting a lot out of it as well. And, a lot of people, not to go on a somber note, but a lot of people are struggling right now, especially in this country, right? With everything that's going on. And me and Mel tend to not get into a real political type of, realm when we're talking on our podcast here, but obviously there was an election, right? And obviously, unless you've been living underneath a rock for the last you know exactly how that election's going. You know the players in it, and there is anxiety, there is anger on both sides, and that's why I thought this talk was such a perfect way to end the week, just because people need to realize what they actually have in their life, gratitude, and focus on giving, because that's like I said, I'm not going to get super political, but that's the only way we're going to heal as a country is if we can come together. And by gratitude and giving, I believe those two things can lead us as a country into mending the fence.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's all positive things. I mean, I think nothing negative at all is, behind gratitude and giving, unless you're selfishly giving for the wrong reasons. But obviously, there is a lot of positivity, and it can definitely make yourself feel better. I love, I am more of a giver, and I love giving little gifts, and I put other people before myself, even just with, little tiny things. But when it comes to actually, there's obviously so many other ways of giving, but I think with gratitude, that it's something that a lot of people this year, especially and millennials, have started doing some gratitude journals, or whether you're posting them or not. I think I've seen a trend in so much more of people at any age, sharing things that they're grateful for, and it's. I actually, it was really funny when we were sort of planning this. I had set up probably about a week and a half ago, even before November came out, it's National Gratitude Month, obviously, with Thanksgiving coming and the holidays. I think that's, it's a great time to talk about this too, with that coming. But I have on my Alexa, and she's going to light up right now, but in the mornings, right? Everybody who's watching this, it's now going to say, what? I actually said in the morning, I set it up. You can set up rules, and you can set up things. And what I did was I said, good morning. And I get the weather outside, and I get a fun fact of the day. And then I actually set it up for it to say, what are 3 things you're grateful for today? So every morning, if I remember to say good morning, which I do, I am asked this question. It's like a reminder for myself. I definitely want to think about those things, but I have it now set. So there's a great example. Everybody out there who has them, tell her to ask you what you're grateful for.
Yeah, that's awesome, because one of the things I do in the morning is like a gratitude type of journal. I'll have some positive affirmations, and I'll have stuff written down. And it's crazy because I was doing it on such a consistent basis, like every day. It was just like clockwork. Boom, wake up, do that. Wouldn't even look at my phone, right? Necessarily, because a lot of times we do, that's the first thing we look at, right? And so,
right.
But one of the things that I try to do on a daily basis is gratitude and stuff like that. And for the last 3 or 4 days up until today, I hadn't done that. And I could just remember walking through the day, just kind of lethargic, like just going through the motions, right? No energy, just like, okay, well, I'll get some stuff done, and today was the first day and it was before you even gave the idea of this talk today, because, my energy is up. I'm accomplishing more things. The day just seems a little bit brighter, right? Things like food tastes better. I don't know. It's just weird. So
yeah, but it's so true. I posted, if you guys follow us on Instagram, if you don't, you should, please. We beg you. We're grateful if you do. But we did a 30 days of gratitude post. I found it and I thought, why not share this every day? I've been checking it off so that people can follow along what I am doing. And I posted just today, I think it was a thankful pause. I went and had coffee this morning with a friend and had just some great conversations and just relaxed. I kind of started my day slow. I took a nice, and it means different things to everybody. Obviously, there was one that says get a treat and all this. If you follow it, go ahead and look at it. I have been showing some of the examples that I'm doing, but that right there is huge, because you when you set to do that for the 30 days, you're starting off, like you just said, you're starting off with something positive. And it has changed things for me because I'm able to appreciate those little tiny examples that they're giving you. They're even giving you each day, day 1, day 2, day 3. But, I think that it changes a little bit of your brain in a sense, and like the mental health, I think adding that each day, what do you think that that's kind of doing? Like you just made the example of when you didn't do it, it had a little bit of a negative impact on your day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such an important way. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I do, and this is getting off topic a little bit, but there's a lot of things I do in the morning as a routine, right? Like the gratitude journal, focusing on, even like one of the things that I read that I want to start doing. Hopefully, my wife's not watching or not listening to this segment, but I read somewhere where this gentleman actually every day, he did it for a couple people. He did it for like a friend, his spouse, and like his children. And every day when he woke up, he would write something about those three sets of people. Whether like my wife did this for me today and it made me feel really happy, right? Like something positive about whatever it was, or my wife, got her hair done and it just reminded me of how beautiful she is, right? And those types of things. And he actually reported that it made him fall more deeply in love with his wife. It made him love his kids even more. It strengthened his relationship with one of his best friends. So that's something that I want to start. So like I said, hopefully, she's not listening to this aspect.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, I really do think that it can change things around. I've done that with relationships too, where a lot of times we focus on what's going wrong, right? Like we focus on the problems and we focus on what's going wrong and then we want to solve them, but you forget about all the good. And it's even with jobs. I mean, it's with relationships, it's with friendships, it's with family. We tend to really focus on things that are not going well. And when you shift that and you start to write down, and I think writing it down helps a lot. Even if you're not showing it, I think that doing it in the first place, even if you're not going to tell it to somebody or show somebody, I think just going through the motions is obviously still great. But I think that we have to stop focusing a lot of times on the bad things and shift to the good things too.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, like with what you just said. Like that's how like I feel like society is built. Like whereas we're so focused and fixated on what is not going well in our lives that, I mean, we don't take the time to smell the roses and realize what's actually going on. And I mean, prime example is you watch the news, right? And regardless of if you're watching this, how you feel about the news or whatever, like essentially all news operates the same way, right? Tragedy sells, right? People are going to stick to, that type of, they want to see the train wreck, right? And so we're getting all this negative just stuff. And, the last like 5 minutes of the show is like, and here's Susie who, did all this stuff for the community. Good night, guys. Like, and they sign off. Like it's like we're not focusing on what's actually good in our lives, right? And I know we're going to get into some of our personal things of what we find grateful, but what I really want to put to the viewers that are on live with us or are going to be watching the replay, and even if you're going to be listening to this on one of the other avenues, let us know some of the things that you're grateful for today. Like maybe it's one thing, maybe it's two things, but just put it out there. Put it out there. It's going to change the way you're thinking about what's going on today. We
had our first comment. My mom, thankful for you too. Thanks, Mom. That was showing up on the Facebook pages, but I think writing it down. I think that there's a lot of people that use social media to show what they're grateful for. I don't think showing it in words and through social media is boasting. I think that if that's your outlet to show what you're grateful for each day or every week or something, I think it's great. I think if that's, I think that if it's what you want to do, to be able to express that, like I said, sometimes it doesn't have to be communicated to the person. It's like, at least you're thinking about it and you're telling it to yourself. But I do think that, there are some benefits to showing it on social media. Like I said, even just, doing the 30 days that we're doing on the Insta story, it could form a habit. 3 weeks, right? Forms a habit. So that could just be something that if you do take a month and you show something every day. I also think that it is something that you're doing positive. I think that because you're showing gratitude and appreciation, you're taking away from like envy and jealousy and resentment and all those like negative emotions. I think you're flipping things, like we said, to the positive. So I think doing that and even just telling yourself or waking up in the morning and saying it to yourself is kind of removing you from some toxicity, I would say, in a sense. I think it's like shifting you into that positive realm. So I think that if there is a lot of toxicity or negativity, whatever in your life, I think this would be a great opportunity to start every morning with something that you're grateful for, or before you go to sleep, say what you were grateful for that day. And I don't think it's going to be overnight. I think there's studies where, people over time, you can really shift your mindset and going from removing certain things, like I said, jealousy or whatever it is, like, negative emotions. I think that you can do that, but I think it's something that you just have to start to do and keep up with it, as a routine too.
Yeah. I mean, when you were talking there, I was thinking about something that, you kind of spurred in my head. You have to do this on a consistent basis, because the simple fact is that most people think like, okay, if I do this, if I change my mindset, like negativity is gone out of my life, right? And that's not the case. Like that will always be there. That's just how your mind works, right? Your mind's always going to tell you, you're always going to have that inner dialogue of, you shouldn't do this or you should do this, right? And so for me, and what I want to get my point across here is that, like I said, you're never going to get rid of that. It's always going to be there. But I think doing these things on a consistent basis, the giving, the gratitude journal, the other things being positive, turn down the noise level, right? You're able to amplify the positive things that are going in your life. Like I said, negativity is always going to be there, but being able to raise the volume on the positive voice in your head rather than the negative voice will definitely set yourself up for a relationship success. Will set yourself up for even, business success, just overall a better quality of life, right, in my mind.
Well, yeah. And I think that when you're focusing on the things that you do appreciate and you're grateful for, then, maybe it opens the doors for exploring those things more, or exploring what isn't making you happy. You can kind of focus on the good things, but then maybe somehow start to realize the what and the why and other aspects that aren't things that are maybe positive. Like you said, I mean, it's the negative. There's definitely going to be negativity there, but if you can start to shift into more of a positive and grateful aspect, maybe somehow it could affect the other things. I don't know.
No, you're right. Like, I was thinking of like when we're talking about evaluating, what's going on positively in your life and you should evaluate what's going on negatively in your life. Like, I'm not saying ignore negativity, because some negative things in your life can, failure and stuff like that can direct you to where you want to be. But, one of the things that I do, and I do it subconsciously now, I don't even realize it anymore because I'm just so used to doing it, is that any situation I run into, like for instance, this live, right? This podcast, in my mind, what I'll do is I'll think of 3 things that went really well. Like, okay, we had great connection. We had great conversation, right? We had some people jump on. Those are great positive things, right? 2 negative things, right? Maybe I didn't hit this button in a certain right? Or maybe I cut Mel off in this instance, right? And then I say, all right, what's one thing that I'm going to change, right? Because I think when we're focused on those negative things, right? The not giving, the not gratitude, the things that aren't going well in our life, we look at too many of them and we try to fix them all at one time, when we can't do that. Even the best multitasker in the world can't fix every problem. Like, you have to take time and fix each one as they come. But, for me, evaluating, right? And I think that goes along with being grateful, is evaluating what's going well in your life, right? If it's only one thing, great. Focus on that one thing, right? Every day, be thankful for it. You might have everything else might be falling around in your life, but hey, you got up today, right? That's a win, right? And you keep building on that.
Well, and I think that where the giving comes in, and I'm really glad that we're talking about gratitude and giving, because I think that when we become grateful for the things that we have in our and who and how and all the things behind what we're grateful for, we can then start to give to others the things that maybe we don't have, or want to help other people feel grateful for what they do have, even if it's less, but that it kind of goes hand in hand. And I think that, even with the leadership Harrisburg that I'm doing, a lot of it is servant leadership, which is giving back, right? Giving your time, giving your talent, giving your, volunteering, nonprofits. And there is something about being able to have the opportunities that I do have and get to where I have and the connections, and then being able to use that for good. I always say our purpose here is to do good, is to do for others, is to help others. And when you are grateful for the things that you do have, then I think being able to provide that for other people, it really goes hand in hand, I feel.
Yeah, no, you're on fire today, because another thing that just ran through my mind. How important is it for a leader to be grateful and be a giver, right? We think back through history and stuff like that. Like, you look at some of these leaders, not mentioning any names, right, in particular, but the great leaders always seem to be the givers, right? And the ones that cared, and the ones that were grateful for everything that they have. And the leaders that, maybe not so good, right, took a lot, right? And weren't grateful for the people that they had around them, and weren't grateful for the situation that they were put in. And so I think it's super important, if you're in any type of leadership role, whether you're, a husband or wife that's the leader of your family, right? Or you're a leader of a business, or, you're a religious group or a volunteer group, whatever it is. Like, I think that's important, because as a leader, you have to be able to be the rock, right? The foundation. When everything is going crazy, you're the one that's holds steady fast. And you can't be that way if you're negative all the time, right? If you have a negative outlook on life. And one of the things, like we've been talking about, that helps you with that is being grateful, right? Is being a giver.
Right. And appreciative, because look at what they say. People who are appreciated will do more than they're asked, or more than they're expected. I think that when you look at certain businesses, and we talked about company culture and things that are the basis of businesses and companies, and there's so many even local companies that appreciate their employees. They put their employees and their staff first, and they get back tenfold, because the employees are appreciated. They're treated well, and when they're appreciated, because the company itself is showing gratitude. That is being able to appreciate the employees and what they do. They're showing gratitude to the employees. The employees then in turn show gratitude to the company and their leaders, because it comes out from leadership. And then in turn, they perform usually better and above and beyond, because that gratitude is there, and it's kind of an exchange back and forth.
Yeah. It nail on the head.
Anything that's any relationship, right? I mean, that's like the idea behind anything, a friendship and relationships and parents and children. I mean, really, I think it could go towards anything.
Yeah, I
As
mean,
far
well,
as being grateful.
you see it in business all the time, right? Like, my goal as being an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, right? My goal is to figure out how much value I could give you, right? Like, I want to outvalue you, right? I want to outgive you. And it's not because I want to be better than you. It's because I know the more I give, the better situation I'm going to be in the community, right? Because you want to have a positive outlook of who you are, right? You don't want to be known as the guy that never passes a referral, right? Or along those lines. And so, like, you'll see it all the time, especially on social media. You'll see people, post about their business or whatever, and just ask, and not finding out how to be a giver in that situation, like giving, whether it be free information. I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying,
or time.
Yeah, or just your time. Like, how many times have you taken the time to have a conversation with somebody about their logo, right? And it didn't pan out, right? But you do it because that's the right thing to do, right? It's not,
Right.
Or even with you in the masks, right? When you did the whole thing with the masks a while ago, right? You probably didn't make any money from that, right? But you did it because it's what's good. It's, I was talking to my dad the other day. A lot of people have lost the mindset of doing what's good for the gander, right? Doing for the greater good, right? Maybe not always focusing on what's in it for you, but focusing, okay, how does this benefit us as a whole, right?
Well,
Go ahead.
It's funny that you say that. When we had someone speaking on Wednesday, it was from Harrisburg Chamber, and he said the mentality of what's in it for me, and it is a central Pennsylvania. He said, because who founded, the British, it was the Germans, it was like a cultural thing, but it was very interesting because you're 100% right. I've been experiencing it a lot lately, in that people are in it sometimes for themselves, but it's businesses, it's organizations, it's committees, it's people who should be working together to grow and giving to the other, other groups and ideas, and they're not, and I think that when you realize that it comes back to teamwork and effort, and that it is for the greater good, of the organization, of the business, of the town, of this, and focusing instead of what's in it for me, what can I bring to the, to this, to expand and grow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, tagging on to that, I'm a firm believer, you reap what you sow, right? So if you're a giver, and you give often, and without the big thing is giving without being told you need to give, right? Like,
right.
That's a big
or
thing.
Getting anything.
Yeah.
Or getting anything in return. I mean, how many times are you not getting in return? And
like, for me, I don't expect anything in return from when I give. Like, I just don't.
Right.
And it's not because, like, I don't want that. Like, obviously, when you're, especially in a business sense, right? Yes, we want to make money. Like, let's not beat around the bush, right? But I say that because then, because not everybody has that mentality. And so when you're let down, because people will let you down, newsflash for people that are watching this, people will let you down. And so when they do let you down, you weren't expecting anything, so you're fine, right? You can move on a little bit quicker. I remember when I first started, right, in business, I did not have that mentality. And it burned me more than a lot. So I had to, reconfigure my mind and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to focus on what I'm doing and my giving. And, I give with the expectation of not receiving anything in return.
Yeah.
However, I know that as a giver, right, as a person that gives his time, his energy to other people, I know if I do that enough, then I'm going to find somebody that's going to reciprocate, right? That time. And so
right, but
that's why you do it.
Mm-hmm. It's not just, so for me and my experience, and I've definitely had those times where I've given advice or business or ideas or anything. But for me, it's not just that I'm looking at it from that one person. Maybe when I was younger, I did. I can't really remember because I think my mentality is just give. I give way too much, but I look at it because somebody else is going to give to me. It's not necessarily that person. So you're saying that, maybe there'll be somebody that where it's reciprocated, but don't forget that it might not be that person. It might never be that one person that you're giving to, but guess what? Tomorrow or next week or next month, somebody else is going to give to you. And it's that idea of, pay it forward that came out a while ago that we all know about. But I'm a firm believer. I get opportunities and have given people's time and advice and connections that I never gave anything to them, or I might not even be able to give to them. You never know, but it comes back. You know what I mean? What you put out there definitely comes back. It might not be that specific time or person, but I definitely think it comes back.
No, it definitely does. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it on both sides of the fence. Like I said, when I first started out, I was not that way, and nothing came, in return. And once I said, I follow a lot of different people. Gary Vee's big on this. It's just, he actually has a book called The Thank You Economy. If you haven't read it, it's all about what we're talking about. It's about giving without the expectation of ever getting anything in return. But like I said, I've seen it on both sides of the spectrum, and there's been clients that never. Well, I'm not going to say they're clients because they never became my client, right? But because of what I did for them and gave my energy, like they led me to other clients, right? They're like, hey,
right.
It's not going to work for us. However, I know XYZ, this person, they need what you do. Boom, right there. Like, and if I wouldn't have took the time to just get to know them, like how many times do you network with somebody, right? And they're like you could just tell from Jump Street, it's all about them. You're trying to ask them questions, you're just trying to get to know them, and they're just like, well, I don't, I actually had somebody say to me one time, like, well, I have to cut this call short because this isn't an income producing phone call. And I was like, really? I said, that's interesting. Like, and I get it. You got to guard your time. But, when you're only taking 30 minutes out of your day, right, to have a conversation with somebody, you never know. I might lead you to a deal that's the biggest deal you've ever done. And just because it didn't seem like that on the surface, like I wasn't worth your time, I'm not calling anybody out, and I don't care that this happened. I'm just giving an example of obviously a situation where somebody wasn't in the giving mode, right? They were like, and so I promised myself after that I would never do that to somebody. I would never say that to anybody. Like,
right.
You're not worth my time.
Yeah, and you could think like, oh, this isn't, I'm not making any money on this, or I'm just, however you want to think it, I wouldn't say it. You can say, hey, gotta run, have other things, that gotta do here, but I wouldn't say that specifically. But I do think it's, look, we've all given and gotten burned. I think that we live and we learn, and you kind of have to do those things in order to then know when to say no, when to say yes, when to give, how much time. And I think I have been helped in so many ways and mentored, and and I think being grateful for those things allows me to give my time too. And again, you have to be careful of how much and what you're doing, but I think there's a good balance of it.
No, there is.
For
I
sure.
mean, but I think it just comes back full circle is the person that you're going to be. You have to be intentional about what you're doing on a daily basis if
Mm-hmm.
you want to become the person you want to be. And so,
Mm-hmm.
writing down what you're grateful for, writing down, some of those examples. For me, I try to be specific, not just like, I'm thankful for the day, right? Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
try to be
Right.
specific in what I'm thankful for, not like, oh, I'm just thankful for my wife. That's
Mm-hmm.
generic, right?
Why? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like why, right? And we talked about this last week. Your why has to be emotional. It's not like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I want to make $1 million this year because it would be nice, right? Or I
Mm-hmm.
could buy my family nice things. Like, okay, that's great. You can buy your family nice things. What is that going to feel like? What are you going to buy? Where are you going to go?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you going to do with your
Mm-hmm.
kids? Like, making it emotional uh,
Mm-hmm.
ties you to it, and then it becomes a part of you. So I think that's important.
Right. And I think tying into last week too, I mean, one of my best friends, we were talking about doing like vision boards and things that you can visualize. We talked about it last week, but I think that doing the gratitude journals and even just waking up and saying what you're grateful for going into the day, at the end of the night, however, whenever you want to do it, I think that it starts to help you visualize what is really there. I think it's, or, and maybe it's not visual, it's, you're speaking it, but I think that when you're looking, you're sort of taking a snapshot of, it could be the day, and it could be the month, or it could be the week. And like you said, you're evaluating, but you're mentally evaluating things and saying, I have this, I'm grateful for this. And it could be anything, like we said, from health, with relationships, finances, opportunities, anything that you're grateful for. I think it starts to help us visualize more, and maybe that is also about the mindset of making things into, I don't want to say reality. You're recognizing what you do have, and then you're able to maybe form a path to getting more of that, in a sense, better, healthier. So maybe it's kind of a bigger than just that overall, in the bigger picture too.
No, I mean, you're right. I think, like I say, giving breeds, it's like a boomerang, right? If the more
Right.
you give, the more that's going to come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Right.
so if you're giving a lot, more often than everybody else, that will come back. And it might not come back next week. It might not come back next month. But it's going to come back in a big way. And all of a sudden, you're going to be in a different sphere of people. You're going to be in a different environment. From a strictly business aspect of things, right? Let's talk about that. Doing that in a business sense could lead you to being in front of somebody that changes the course of your business, right?
Yeah.
By just simply being present, being somebody that's willing to take some time. But like I said, I know we want to guard our time, but taking that into consideration, because you never know who you meet and where they might lead you. So that's why
Right.
the giving aspect of things has to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think even just look at relationships. I mean, starting to really write down on a post-it note, put it on the fridge, what you're grateful for in your partner and your significant other, and maybe your relationship. Not doesn't have to just be about them. I think it could be about what you're grateful for in the relationship. It actually starts to then remind you of the things that you should be doing, because those are the things that you're grateful for and that you love and that you're so appreciative of. Maybe you stop doing them. Like you said, it helped this guy fall back in love with his wife. It reminds you of the things that are important to you. And that could be in business and friendship, with anybody. I think maybe just putting those things that you're grateful for, but then it goes twofold, giving that back, to that person, to then get, giving that back to your relationship, giving that back to your career, the things that you're grateful for, that it does for you. Giving more of it is going to only make things better, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I like what you said there, needs to be a reminder. I wrote it down in my notes because it's just that, like, and it goes full circle of what, as a, like I said, not to get political, but like as a nation, what we're going through, we need to be reminded of how good we have things here, how that looks right now. But being reminded on a, like you said, the husband being reminded of his wife, why they got married, because they could have been married 25 years, right? And a lot of time has passed in that relationship. Like a lot of things can be taken for granted over time, right? Like you take, like, I love to do the laundry. That's just something I love to do. I don't know why. It's a very mundane task, right? I'm thinking all the time. So just fold clothes is very, mechanical. But, over a course of 20 years, Megan could get, be like, well, he's just always going to do it because that's what he always does, right? And not being thankful for that. And like the vice versa, like Megan does these things, right? And so I remind myself of, what she actually does. Like for me, like a big thing, and I guess we can get right into it, some of the things that we're super thankful for, right? One of the things I'm hugely thankful for is my wife, right? And one big thing that I'm super thankful for is that I was in a place in my life career-wise where I was not in a good mental place. And she allowed me, and she had enough confidence in me to say, hey, in my financial services career, she said, you're really good at this. You need to do it full time. And I'll take on the brunt of bills, stuff like that, until you get up on your feet. And so, I'm super, super thankful for that, because if she wouldn't have been strong enough to do that, we are probably not having this conversation right now, right?
Right,
Just
right.
Like I said, you never know where that one decision could have we wouldn't have been doing this right now. So
yeah, and I think that's a great example, because mine, I really think, especially right now, I'm very grateful for the support from my family and my friends. And the support is huge. Obviously, mental health, we all need a lot of support right now with this year, everything going on with the pandemic. And but I'm very grateful, because some people don't have the family support or the friends. And I know that I couldn't get through some of the things without that. And that really is huge. And I think when you start to really recognize that and thank them, tell them how much you appreciate them, they're going to continue to do it. And they're going to feel valued for what you, and it brings you even closer. I think it builds that relationship. But but I know that without that, that support, that I wouldn't be able to get through a lot of things. So it's my number one for sure.
And you know what also I'm very super thankful for? I'm thankful for you, because without you, right? And I would not be here, right? I wouldn't be on this podcast with you, yelling, screaming about millennial things.
I did put that. I put that already in our little blurb.
I know. I saw that.
That we're that's a given. Okay, that and I say this all the time. I mean, I've said this from the start, that the opportunity for us to co-host this together, and for you, and how appreciative I am to have met you through we have to give Greg and Derek a shout out for Central PA Support Small Business, because that Facebook group and what they're doing in their podcast, we wouldn't have really met if so. We're grateful for you guys. Shout out to them.
They're not millennials, so I don't know if we can have them on the show. But
yes. I'll give them their shout out. But a couple other things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm super thankful for my family. Like I said, I'm super thankful for the opportunity that I found in what I do as a career. Just because I love people, I love the ability to interact, network, and to make an impact. And so this career really gives me all those things that I already excelled at in hospitality. So customer service was something I really excelled at. but it just wasn't the right vehicle. And so I'm super thankful of that. And then just one other thing that I'm super thankful for is every day I wake up, and once you open your eyes, regardless of what you believe religiously, or if you don't believe in anything religiously, like just the ability to be awake that day and to go through your day and go through the day, successfully, is always something to be grateful for, because not every day is guaranteed, right? Not every moment is guaranteed. And so, that's what makes every moment so beautiful, is because it is gone in an instant. Mm-hmm. So, super thankful to be here today. So
yeah. And I can, my two kind of relate to yours too, about I especially lately, but I've been very grateful my whole career of the opportunities that I have been given by people who have not expected anything in return. Know that I didn't have certain things to give them back, but they were able to provide me an office space. Maybe it was super cheap, or it's not just advice and things that I've gotten, but actual things that have progressed me professionally and my career that I wouldn't have had. But the opportunities that I've had lately, I mean, I definitely would like to say I've worked very hard, but I think that lately I've been given a lot of opportunities to meet people, and the connections that I've had. I don't ask people to do that. They just want to introduce me or have meetings, and the opportunities that have been given to me. We talked a little bit about this last week, that I'm very grateful for those. It's what you make of it. I think, it's definitely what you make of it. If you're handed an opportunity, you gotta take it. But that there's just a lot of things with my business that have come across lately that I'm definitely very grateful for. But my other big one is definitely health. I've taken advantage, I feel, of my health because of not having, knock on wood, a lot of health issues. I mean, I've been very healthy my whole life. I try to stay fit. I eat pretty well. It's not difficult, and I'm very grateful for that, because not everybody has that advantage or opportunity. And I think I want to make sure that I appreciate that for sure. It could go tomorrow, and things could happen anytime. And with the things that my sister's going through, as you guys know, they found CNS lymphoma, and what we thought was MS for a couple years was a brain tumor. And I mean, she's at a rehab center right now, and, waking up every morning, being thankful for the ability to get out of bed and walk and go to the bathroom yourself and feed yourself. And, I'm getting a little, giving a lot more information that many people might not know, but the functions that we have on a daily basis for our health, physically and mentally, I think when we are grateful and appreciative every morning, we start to not take advantage of those things that we have. And that's big for me.
Yeah. So I popped up a comment here. So just to, if you're definitely watching this, guys, let us know some things that you're super thankful for in the comment section.
Be like my mom. Thankful for you.
But let us know.
But you too. She said you too, Billy. Okay. She said TWO, meaning two of us. She's grateful for you too. Okay.
I appreciate it. I appreciated that. So very thankful for that.
I definitely think that there's this year has made us all, I don't want to say question things, but I definitely think I saw one of my friends had posted a little bit about that. It's made us evaluate things, like you said, question, slow down.
Yeah.
Take a look at things, reevaluate, restart. There's a lot of things that are restarting. There's a lot of businesses that failed, relationships that failed, finances that failed. We could go on. And I think that there are people look at it like it's been a very, very bad thing, and it has. But what are the positive things that come out of that? A new start, a fresh start, a new way of doing things. you know, that's something to be looking at, what the positive spin on things this year too. What can you still be grateful for out of this pandemic and all of the bad stuff that's happened? Let's start to flip it into positive things. I have to be honest, I'm very grateful that I have a bathtub, because I love taking baths.
And wine.
It's a stress reliever with wine. Sometimes I bring my wine in there, okay? But I know for me, it's a stress reliever. I like to relax. I like to have a nice warm bubble bath and just sit. And maybe it's only for 5-10 minutes. I don't know. But I did not, in my old apartment when I was in Mechanicsburg years ago, I did not have a bathtub. It was just a stand-up shower. And going from that to this, and I know it sounds very, I don't use the word shallow, but I mean, there are people that I didn't have a bathtub, and right now it's been taking baths have really helped me to de-stress, and I've got to put it out there. I'm grateful for my bathtub.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, like I think you got to do those things like you're saying, like the bathtub thing, being grateful for that. I think you need to have those small victories, right? And take time.
It's silly, but it's true. It helps me, it definitely helps me too. But
you know what you said. Well, you didn't say how I'm going to say it, but you said it in everything that you said.
That's why we work together well.
But to kind of condense it, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Because if it killed you, you wouldn't be here, right?
Right.
Just wouldn't happen, right? So that's why it's so important to be grateful for the things that you have, but also take times to evaluate the things that you want to change. Because if 2020 has taught us anything, the people that are using this moment in time, this year, this awful year that we've gone through, that it's going to make you stronger if you allow it to, right? If you're going to be able to use this as a springboard, right? And some of us that are watching this might have not done that, right? Maybe they said, maybe it's been a really rough year. But you can use these last 2 months to really spring into the next year, right? And we have no idea what next year looks like, 2021, right?
Right. This could be going on for a little bit. So
yeah, I'd much rather run into 2021 than limp into 2021, right?
Right. Limp. Limp. Yes. No.
So, it's just, for me, that saying just ran through my head, is that, what doesn't kill you can only make you stronger, because you're going to learn from it, whether it be, business, a relationship, those types of things. You might have had a misstep there, but you can always take something from that and build something really beautiful. So, I think a comment here.
We do. Mom with the comments today.
Dropping knowledge.
God. Yeah, she said, Laura says, I thank God every day for all I am blessed with. And I think she meant now, but yes. That's something too. Obviously, I think being grateful and saying these things in the mornings or at night, it really honestly doesn't have to be anything about religion, but obviously, there are many people that tie in prayer and religion and God and all that. And we don't need to get into that, but yeah, I think that's a whole nother story. Like, pray, that's a way of being grateful and showing gratitude is through prayer too. But yeah, just being happy for what you have right now. It goes back to that comment that I made a couple of podcasts ago about being content with where you are, and not needing, wanting, and just being content with the present and getting on, and on your journey. I think if like she says, if you're thankful for what you're blessed with and what you have, you're not out there needing, wanting, you know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's perfect. I think it's a perfect segue to, I know you have a couple things for us as far as a couple ways that we talked about a couple of them just
Yeah.
through conversation, but I know you have a couple of things that you want to share with us that you've researched, 10 or a couple of different ways of how you can actually give.
Yeah, I think too, especially with going through the servant leadership course with this has given me some ideas and things. But I've definitely, I feel I've done a lot of volunteering in the past and with committees and stuff. And I think donating your time is a full spectrum. It could be volunteering with an organization and a nonprofit for any aspect of something that is needed. So donating your time, it could just be, like you said, having a 30-minute hour conversation with somebody who's starting a business who needs a little bit of advice, and you're giving your time, right? So it's just being able to, no matter what it's for, your time is very valuable. Like the guy said, this isn't making me money. Let's go back. Mark Cuban has so much money because he doesn't go anywhere unless he's picking up a paycheck. We know this, okay? But he, along the way, before that too, I'm sure his time, he learned along the way, and it is valuable. But I think being able to in fact give that back is a way to show that giving. But random acts of kindness. So hey, you hold a door open for somebody, you smile, that might be, we always see the memes, that might be the nicest thing that somebody got that day. A compliment, is telling somebody you like their shirt, their shoes, buying a cup of coffee. My cousin just posted, it's my cousin's daughter, but she just posted that she went to Starbucks. They didn't have 2 of her coffees. She was upset. She really wanted this coffee. She was tired. She had a bad day. She gets up and and they say, oh, the person in front of you paid for your coffee. So just that little bit, she was upset because she couldn't get, let's say what it was, but somebody, she flipped it, she posted it on Facebook and shared her story. And then, she did something nice for somebody else. So I think it's a chain reaction sometimes when you are able to just do a little act of kindness. And again, it could just be saying hello, saying thank you, just little tiny things. I think those acts can then trigger a domino effect. Fundraise. So ways to give back, fundraise for an organization, a family in need, a child in need, a business in need, collecting funds and being able to help somebody monetarily is a great way to give back, or just donate $25. If you have a little bit extra, if you made a little extra, if you I'm not going to go out to dinner tonight, I'm going to give that to the local, bless you, the local nonprofit that I like. I think that's a great way. It's almost like makes me, I'm going to have to sneeze now. I don't know why. Usually yawning is the one that's contagious, but for some reason I just got this urge to sneeze. I think another one is helping someone in need, like a child. Okay. So helping a child in need, or a senior. I mean, somebody, we a lot of times our seniors are overlooked and forgotten. That's a whole nother topic, but a lot of seniors, with generations and age gaps, I think, just helping a senior, or a child. I know these are very vague, but I just made a list and I figured, they'd be great. Recycle. Okay. So recycling things, donating your goods. I just did for Community Aid. It was one of my notes on my 30 days of gratitude was donate items. I had been trying to sell some of my things, get rid of in the fall. I donated all my clothes that a lot of dresses that I wasn't wearing. I took them all down to Community Aid. So whether it's recycling your clothes or giving them to somebody, giving some stuff away for free that you don't need, or for the planet. Plastic, paper, electronics, recycling is a nice way to feel that you're giving back. And I saw one that was plant a tree. So you can plant a tree, and you're giving back to our environment. There you go.
I like that one. I love planting a tree, and then I love like a random act of kindness, like generosity. Random text message or random message to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, just like, hey, I hope you're doing well. Is there anything you need, let me know, or something along those lines.
A note card, a made to keep little card in the mail. How did I forget?
Look at that!
Forget that. Sending a little.
How do you not plug your own business? How did that?
Shameless plug. Note cards. I've got tons of them.
So this is just came to my head, right? I'm gonna throw it out there for people that are watching, because we have some people watching. So if you know me well enough, I rarely keep cash on me. Most guys don't keep cash on them. Surprise, right? Most guys just don't do that. And so, I ended up having a $20 bill in my pocket. And so after this show, I'm going to go to, there's a coffee place right down the street from here. It's called Copper Cup. And I'm going to go there.
I've been there.
Yeah, great place. I'm going to go there, buy a cup of coffee, and I'm going to give the rest to the as a tip to the whoever's there right now. So they're about to get a big surprise. So because
it'll make
I drink regular coffee, I don't drink all the the pumpkin spice. You know how I feel about pumpkin spice. So or peppermint mocha, because we're now getting into the holiday season. I'm already forced to watch Hallmark Christmas movies now, so it's begun. But I'm gonna do that for that person. So my challenge I say all that to say this. My challenge, I'm challenging people right now. Even you, Mel, I'm going to challenge you too.
Okay. All right.
Do something in that list, whether it be a random act of kindness for somebody, and just post about it on our social media. Post about it on our page, Millenials.
Yeah, or put it on your story. Put it on your story and tag us,
Look at that.
so that we can then share it on our story, because it'll help us, and we'll be grateful for our fans on social media.
See, that's why you're the co-host. And
I was gonna say, I want to put this out there, and I forgot to say this earlier. I tell everyone that I talk to about our podcast, and going back to being grateful and appreciative, I say this all the time. I am appreciative and so grateful for you co-hosting this, but what it really was is that I didn't have to even ask or say or tell. When we first did the first one, you took the reins and you said, "Hey guys, it's Billy. I'm here with Mel." You eliminated a lot of pressure and stress that was causing me to maybe not do this as much, because I enjoy the conversation, all that, but I appreciate you sort of taking on that intro, and the buttons and all this, because I don't have to do it. And I'm not saying that I don't want to do it, but it's like a give and take. I do more of the social media here and there, but like I appreciate the teamwork that we have, that didn't even have to ask you to do it, or we didn't say who wants to do this or can you do this. You just did it, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, like I said, you got to know. When you talk to people, right? You actually have a real life conversation with people. You figure out how they think and stuff like that. Surprise people. That actually happens when you actually listen instead of what's that saying? I can't think of it. It's like, I'm listening to speak rather than listening to listen, or something along that. I know.
Understand, yeah.
I butchered it. Go ahead and crush me on that one. But yeah, you had said some things, right? Like, hey, I'm struggling to do this with the podcast. I would really love to have you as a co-host. And I said, okay, great. I can handle those things, right? And so, but that's what you just do for people. Like, I don't, like, for me, it's so ingrained in me. Like, I don't know any other way to not help people. Like, I just don't know how to live life on the other side of things.
And another way I think too, going back to how we did meet in that the Facebook group, is really giving back locally to the business owners. Right now, it's just the best time to shop local, shop small. Obviously, Shop Small Saturdays coming for the day after Black Friday. A lot of people are trying to push to support local businesses, and that's a way to give back to them, is trying to get things local. I know many people do love their Starbucks, but I appreciate you and I both support local coffee shops a lot, for their coffee too. And there's a lot of opportunities and ways to give back to these small businesses right now more than ever, that they need it.
Yep. Totally agree.
That's my Mel's moment, by the way. That's my Mel's moment.
Yeah, now we're all at the
I know. I'm using it.
Ruined. We're all out of whack now.
I'm gonna coin it. That was my Mel's moment. It was just natural. It just happened. It's just, it just came out, and
totally off the rails now.
I was so excited. You screwed me up last week because Phil got everything, and and he went first with everything.
I was giving him his moment, right? Because I'm a giver. I was trying to get more people.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yes, that will be my Mel's moment. Mel's moment is to get, the way to give is this holiday season is to shop local. Support local businesses.
I'm saying we need that reading rainbow kind of deal where it's like Mel's moment.
We're gonna come up with something here.
I'm sure we know somebody that does some type of graphic. I'm not sure quite yet if that person exists in this room, but they're probably.
We've been talking. I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Well, speaking of graphic design, right? I think there's another moment, and it is another Mel's moment because it is your moment to give us the millennial meme of the
millennial meme. I'm ready for it. So obviously, we for those who maybe haven't watched too, we put up each week. We don't share it with each other. It's a surprise, and we put up a meme because memes are millennials, pretty much. That is somewhat in the category of what this is about. So I'm gonna put her up. And it's a cat chilling on his arm, and he says, "I don't always show my gratitude for the time, money, and effort you spent on me, but when I do, there's a severely dismembered rodent, bird, or reptile at your doorstep." And anyone who has a cat, so I grew up with 2 cats, and we used to get little mice and little birdies for them to show their gratitude for giving them such great pets and rubs and food and a house. So I thought this was a great meme. There's you can reciprocate your gratitude and in many different ways. Okay, it could be with a little tiny dead animal for your owner. If you're a cat, that's what they do. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it sick? Is it weird?
I mean, it's kind of morbid, but it's fine. The morbid.
Listen, people who have, I don't have a cat right now, unfortunately. I've become allergic to many things in life, but cats are one of them. But as a child, I bring back memories of our cat being, so grateful.
Well, since now it's going to be an awkward end to the show because we've already done so I'll leave you guys with this before we jump off here today. Listen, guys, this week has been tough for a lot of us, okay? So if there was a time this weekend that you're going to take some time to make some moments, right, to be with family, to find out what you're truly grateful for in your life, this is the weekend to do it. Take some time for yourself. Figure out what those things are. Write them down on a daily basis. and repeat those every day. And I promise you, if you do it, I'm making a guarantee. I don't make very many guarantees, but if you do it for, it takes 21 days to make a habit. Say it's 90 days to make it, a lifestyle. Do it for 21 days, and I promise you, you'll be a different person. You'll be in a different mindset.
This disclaimer this is coming from Billy Zerillo, not the Millennial podcast or Melissa Miller, condoning any guarantees on the Millennial.
So you won't be held. So Millennial won't be held liable for any loss.
I'm kidding.
But I guarantee that I'll stand firm with that.
Yes, I will back you.
Yes. So do that. Another challenge, but like I said, challenge that I'm laying out there. I'm about to go do mine. I don't know what Mel's going to go do, but go out, make somebody's day. So, but
I'm going to post what I'm going to do because it's going to be a surprise. I know what I'm going to do, but so that you're watching, you'll have to check our stories and our posts just to see what I'm going to do.
You're going to have to. I'm sorry, guys. That's the nature of the beast. So, but anyways, guys, we're thankful for you jumping on, spending this. I mean, we went at like an hour, so we appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come have a conversation with us. But like I said, have a great weekend, and we will see you next week, 12 o'clock Friday. Come check us out. Set your notifications for that. Go check us out on all the other platforms. Share us, like it, comment, do all that stuff. Please. Grateful. But like I said, have a great week, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Bye.